1866 AD, 5760 AM. The major European powers of France, Spain, Austria, among others, renounced Roman Catholic papal authority, and the sovereign Vatican state, amidst Rome, was stripped of its power. In this, the very year that prophetic chronologists had predicted, Heidelberg, Calerius, Pareus, Gesner and Fleming. These men, even centuries earlier, believed that in 1866 the following biblical prophecy would be fulfilled concerning the Beast Empire, Roman Catholic Empire. Quote, "But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and destroy it unto the end." Unquote. This was the fulfilled 1260 years since 606 AD, when the Pope was declared to be the universal bishop over all Christian bishops. 1866 AD was 4968 years, 552 times 9, of the Vedic calendar, or Black Age, and 3312 years, 552 times 6, after the exodus from Egypt in 1447 BC. In the south, the freed blacks were struggling to take care of themselves, liberated from the white southern plantation owners. Living conditions plummeted drastically for southern blacks, and many Jews from the northern states moved into the south and set up their loan sharking companies throughout the south. And in a few short years, the blacks of the south went from civil servitude with all their needs met to indentured servants who were literally owned by the Jews, who loaned them money against their growing crops, money that had to be paid back at exorbitant interest even if the crops failed. In California, beneath Table Mountain, the famous Calaveras skull was discovered beside a fossilized tree in a mine tunnel within prehistoric strata. Annual Leonid meteor showers were unusually bright this year. Volcanic activity was recorded at Santorini in the Aegean. Nobel was a Swedish manufacturer who in this year invented dynamite. Strangely, the Nobel Peace Prize would be named after him. 1 Today, Tomorrow and the Great Beyond. 2 Daniel. 1867 AD, 5761 AM. The Shogun warriors form an alliance for the government of Japan called the Shogunate. It would survive more than a year. Comet 9P Tempel was discovered, having a 5.5-year orbit. 1 Introduction to Comets. 1868 AD, 5762 AM. The Meiji Restoration ended the Shogunate of Japan, the city of Tokyo becoming the capital of the nation. The Russians annexed Samarkand, New Samaria, which was founded by the ancient migrating Israelites that escaped to Syria in the 6th century BC. 1869 AD, 5763 AM. The Ku Klux Klan is dissolved after the federal government abolished the white disenfranchisement laws that gave over white properties to former slaves. Blacks are granted citizenship in the United States, the 14th Amendment of the US Constitution. The Suez Canal was cut through Egypt from the Mediterranean to the Red Sea under British oversight. The British already controlled the entrance of the Mediterranean, the Strait of Gibraltar, fulfilling the biblical prophecy that the descendants of the Israelites would possess the gates of their enemies. Straits, capes like South Africa, and canals for ships are gates of the sea. The scholarly world was introduced to the existence of a civilization antedating the Akkadians, named Sumerians, by Jules Oppert at the French Society of Numismatics and Archaeology. The First Vatican Council convened under Pope X, where it was determined with much opposition that the papacy is infallible. The doctrine of papal infallibility offended many in the Catholic hierarchy, but they were effectively silenced. 1 March of the Titans. 2 The Stairway to Heaven, the gods who came to planet Earth. 1870 AD, 5764 AM. On February the 12th, a luminous object was seen in the sky over Italy, attended with an earthquake and followed by a rain of sand the next day. Papal infallibility received a majority vote by the strong-arm tactics employed by the Pope. On June the 18th, the Pope issued a decree stating that in whatever the Pope declares, he is infallible. In the same edict, Protestantism is condemned. A couple of months later, the Italian government invaded the countryside belonging to the Pope, taking it. This left the Pope nothing but Vatican City to rule. Later in the year, on September the 20th, Both Rome and the Pope are captured by an excommunicated king. The Pope's woes were 1332 years, 666 plus 666, after 538 AD, when Justinian declared the supremacy of the papacy. The Franco-Prussian War begins when the Germans of Prussia invade France, defeating 2 French armies in this year. In 1871, Paris would surrender. 1. Book of the Damned. 2. Popery, foe of the Church. 3. The Jesus Papers.